Great Northwoods to the Rock-Bound Coast and streaming live in HD worldwide at foxbangor.com. More people choose Good Morning Maine.
Hello everyone. Today on Good Morning Maine, a large garage fire broke out early on Sunday morning in Hancock. We'll bring you all the details coming up.
Also, fatal motorcycle accidents in Maine are higher this year than they were last year at this time. We'll learn about the importance of safety out on the roadways. And
Vice President J.D. Vance will be visiting the city of Brewer today. More on that to come as well. Good morning and welcome to Good Morning Maine. I'm Janessa Bishop.
And I'm Craig Colson. Thank you for joining us. We hope you had a nice weekend. Yes, there's a lot of excitement for J.D. Vance's visit to Maine again today. He'll be in Brewer later this morning, and we'll have live coverage on our channel coming up on our ABC 7 channel. We'll have more on that visit coming up, but first a check of the forecast. And we got through the weekend. It wasn't a great weekend weather-wise.
It was okay.
It wasn't terrible.
Yeah.
It could have been worse, but it's that time of year you just have to soak in every last chance you get before the cold weather comes in. And good news is it looks like we'll see a little more sunshine as we head through the week. Once we get through today will be a little bit cloudy too, but overall the week's not terrible.
Not too bad.
Yeah.
We'll turn things over to meteorologist Devin Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. All right, here we go. This morning we have some fog developing. This is a dense fog advisory right here, and that will expire at around 9 a.m. this morning. We look further off towards the north. Also a dense fog advisory that will be expiring at around 9 a.m. We check out the current visibility. You can see where the levels of visibility are down, and we are seeing those across parts of the state. So as you do travel, definitely be careful out there. It will be hard to see for a little while. As we do push forward, we do have an area low pressure. We do have some clouds moving through. A little bit of rain recently too. That has since cleared out for now. We will have an isolated chance for a shower or storm across parts of the state today. Better opportunities further off towards the north. There's a center of low pressure right there that's tracking off towards the north and the east. And once we get this through, we'll catch a little bit of a break before another system moves in later on this week. All right, futurecast. We do have the clouds. The fog gets out of here. Thunderstorms to the north. A slight chance we could see a little bit of that to the south by us. Then later on tonight, some clouds and more fog on the way overnight. And that will continue as we head towards Tuesday morning. All right, hourly forecast pushing forward. We'll have the clouds, the fog gets out of here. A slight chance for a storm as we head towards the afternoon. Temperatures in the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Sounds good. Thank you, Devin. Well, fire crews had their hands full with a raging garage fire in Hancock. It happened around 3:30 Sunday morning on Acadia Lane. Fire officials say despite crews arriving within minutes, the attached garage was fully involved with flames. Thanks to the quick response from volunteer firefighters, along with mutual aid from surrounding departments, crews were able to keep the fire from spreading and minimize the damage to the home itself. Fire Chief Chris Holmes says crews remained on the scene until around 8 o'clock Sunday morning.
And the garage was fully involved. It was venting out through the front of the building. We pulled a couple lines instead of making an attack and started to gain on it. We have a couple of people arrive, and once we got some more people on scene, then we was able to really make a good attack on it and got it knocked down before it got into the house too far.
Well, both residents and the family pets were able to get out safely. Authorities say the garage is a total loss and the cause of the fire is under investigation.
Meanwhile, 2 juveniles are facing charges in connection with a string of vehicle and property thefts in Penobscot County. According to the Sheriff's Office, the investigation began last month after Brewer police found an abandoned vehicle, which had been previously reported as stolen in Orrington. Deputies, in conjunction with the Brewer police, investigated a number of other reported vehicle and property thefts. The suspects were identified as a 15-year-old from Orrington and a 14-year-old from Brewer. Both juveniles are charged with burglary of a motor vehicle, theft by unauthorized taking or transfer, and unauthorized use of property. The Penobscot County Sheriff's Office says that investigation remains open and ongoing, with additional charges expected.
A New Hampshire man died Saturday in a dirt bike accident here in Maine. According to the Maine Warden Service, the incident occurred at around 3 p.m. on a trail in Parsonsfield. Authorities say 22-year-old Kevin O'Connell of Epping, New Hampshire, was operating a dirt bike with a group of friends on a trail that they described as extremely dusty with poor visibility. Authorities say O'Connell appeared to have hit a rough section of the trail, resulting in him and his bike being thrown from the trail and into a tree. The group of friends reportedly didn't see the crash, but once they reached an intersection, they realized O'Connell was missing and they circled back. Authorities say they attempted CPR until paramedics arrived, but O'Connell died from his injuries. And while O'Connell was wearing a helmet, the Warden Service says the initial investigation indicates that speed was a factor in that deadly crash.
A 19-year-old was arrested in York County on Saturday morning after police say he fired shots at a car while driving on Route 202 in Lebanon. According to the York County Sheriff's Office, they received a call at around 2 a.m. claiming someone in a black sedan pulled up next to his vehicle and fired several rounds into his car. Police say 2 rounds struck the car. One went through the driver's side door and the other struck a tire, disabling the vehicle. And then around 4:40 a.m., the Sanford Police Department found the black sedan outside of a business in Sanford, and it matched that description. Police seized the vehicle and the firearm that they found inside, and Zachary Shaw, 19, from Lebanon, was arrested on 2 charges: reckless conduct with a dangerous weapon and criminal mischief. Shaw is in custody at the York County Jail on $25,000 cash bail and will make his first appearance in court today. Authorities say the complainant was not hit by gunfire during that incident, and the charges against Shaw could be upgraded as that investigation continues.
Word is spreading fast in Maine that ICE agents may be planning large-scale enforcement actions on farms and construction sites. Brad Rogers shows us the warnings going out, the potential impact, and the rights of farms and work sites should ICE pay them a visit.
The Maine Organic Farmers and Gardeners Association, or MOFGA, says it has received information ICE is planning to raid farms and construction sites in Maine, with an emphasis on farms employing foreign workers here on a visa. MOFGA put out a warning that immigration authorities may be planning enforcement actions across the state starting as early as this weekend, but now say the dates are not confirmed. MOFGA also received reports of ICE agents using drones to monitor activity on farms and job sites.
It's disgusting and predatory.
Farm worker Anna Marco says ICE raids on Maine farms would be devastating right now.
Going after farm workers at the beginning of our harvest season, the peak of harvest season, in a state with a right to food and a right to food sovereignty is disgusting. It's a violation of our state laws.
We still are preparing for worst case scenario.
The Maine Immigrants' Rights Coalition says construction sites and farms do have rights. Without a warrant signed by a judge, they can prevent ICE agents from going on private property.
Farms and construction sites, while they have some areas that are exposed to public view, they are also extended those privacy protections, and farm owners and business owners can control access points. So that's why those protections still require a warrant in order to access entry to certain locations.
But it's still very hard. You know, as farmers, we're all working hard and we may not see what's happening at one side of the property.
Farm owner Robin Silverman says even the threat of ICE raids might keep farm and construction workers from other countries from going to work.
So these are good, hardworking people who live and want to stay and live in Maine and help create the food that we all need to eat. And we have to do whatever we can to support the people who are trying to work hard and earn a living and are now afraid to go outside.
We asked Homeland Security and ICE if they're planning to focus more on farms and construction sites. So far, we've gotten no response. MOFGA is urging anyone who sees a drone flying over a farm or construction site to report it to the ICE Watch hotline.
And that was Brad Rogers reporting there. Well, in other news this morning, an arrest has been made nearly 2 weeks after Rockdale police say that someone was assaulted and had his medication stolen. According to the Rockland Police Department, that incident occurred back on August 10th, and they believe the victim was targeted due to his mental health and cognitive ability. Their investigation led the Waldoboro Police Department to arrest 36-year-old Leroy Parker Jr. on Friday. Authorities say the incident started when Parker and several other unidentified individuals in a vehicle attempted to trade the victim crack cocaine for his medications. Then, after attempting to trade fake cocaine made out of rocks, Parker assaulted and stole the victim's medication. At the time of that incident, police say Parker was on 5 sets of bail conditions. He was arrested on Friday for felony robbery, felony stealing of drugs, assault, and violation of conditions of release. Rockland police say the investigation remains ongoing, and those with any information about the case can visit this story on our website to learn who you should contact.
Well, there have been 28 fatal motorcycle accidents reported in Maine so far this year. And as of Friday, it doubles the amount for the same time last year. Our Doug Banks spoke with a local riding instructor about the importance of safety out on the roadways.
It's shocking that there's just so many deaths.
Fatal motorcycle accidents in Maine are higher than they were this time last year.
And we're only in August.
As of Friday, Maine Department of Public Safety spokesperson Shannon Moss tells us there have been 28 motorcycle fatalities. As of this same day last year, that number was 14.
Most people that are driving a vehicle are usually looking for something as big or bigger than them, and some people just don't see us. You know, it's unintentional blindness.
According to Moss, the circumstances surrounding each incident varies, and there does not appear to be a common factor among the 28 crashes. But she says several recent incidents have involved another vehicle entering or crossing the path of a motorcycle and motorcycles leaving the roadway. Moss adds that several of those killed in recent crashes were not wearing a helmet.
We teach in the class to wear all the gear all the time.
The numbers bring attention to road safety. Anderson advises motorcyclists to pay attention, slow down at busy intersections, and wear protective gear.
Motorcyclists shouldn't ride beyond their skill level. Prepare yourself. You know, think of everything as a potential problem or potential issue so you can stay ahead of it.
And for those on four wheels or more,
look twice, look for motorcyclists. We're smaller, but it still takes us just as long to stop as it does in a car.
Doug Banks reporting for ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
Be careful out there.
Definitely. Well, the time now is 8:11. Coming up next on Good Morning Maine, the Ellsworth School Department is implementing AI in the classroom. We'll have more on that ahead.
But first, another look at that forecast. A partly cloudy day ahead today with a chance of isolated thunderstorms. High temps around 81 degrees. Partly cloudy tonight with lows in the upper 50s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy with a chance of thunderstorms. High temps around 79. We'll be right back.
So, I'm hosting book club tonight. I didn't finish the book, but thanks to Hannaford, no one will notice.
Hi, Jen. Oh, this looks good. All this food for book club?
It is. And whoever asks, this was all me.
Totally.
Everything looks so fresh. Must have taken you forever.
Not as long as this book, right?
The settings, the characters.
The ending.
Hundreds of items made fresh daily in store. If you know, you go.
30 years living that Washington, D.C. lifestyle. That'll change a person. Getting rich from insider stock trading should be illegal. But Susan Collins doesn't think so. Susan Collins wants to keep it so senators can play the stock market, make millions of dollars doing that. Why we struggle to pay for gas, groceries, health insurance, the basics. For them to get all that money, why we're paying more, it's not right. It's not right. Tell Susan Collins to stop this congressional stock trade.
We can go into a room and have absolutely nothing in there, nothing on the windows, no color, no character, no tone to a room.
That's, I think, where we're strongest, is being able to help someone envision what's going to go in that window.
And we leave, it's totally transformed into something that the customer wants it to be. We've often been told we make a room look better just by leaving it.
Think you're good at trivia? Arrange these holidays, these historic firsts, these animals by weight.
I have no idea.
Congratulations, you have built the perfect line.
I'm Deborah Norville, and this is The Perfect Line.
Onion rings before, in between onion rings and pizza.
Definitely after.
This is what happy looks like.
Weekdays at 10 on Fox 22.
Welcome back, everyone. Vice President J.D. Vance will be visiting the city of Brewer this morning. He'll be speaking at the Compotech Company, which makes armor for the military. It will be the second visit to the Pine Tree State in just the past few months. He was also at Bangor's airport in May to talk about Medicaid fraud. Traffic is expected to be heavy around the Brewer Industrial Park during today's visit. The city has also established an area on Robertson Boulevard for people to assemble. More information can be found on Brewer's social media pages. We'll also be covering the vice president's visit, and we'll have live coverage on ABC7.
Well, we're still months away from the general election, but as we've reported, the attack ads are already ramping up in Maine's congressional races, especially in that high-stakes Senate race. Political expert Mark Brewer says it's usually Labor Day or late September when ads take a turn for the more severe. He says the early escalation is not the norm, and the upward trend speaks to the gravity of the race's outcome. Here's what he says voters should keep in mind as they weather that political storm.
I would evaluate these ads as real simple. Is what it's saying true? Right? Is it true? If it's true, it's fair. I would say it's above board and fair game if it's true. Right? If it's a lie, then that's not above board and not fair. Right? If it's somewhere in the middle, as a lot of political ads are, right, that it's not clear if it's true or if it's false, then I think that's where we rely on, folks like you in the media to do the fact checks. And that is also where voters have to kind of do some of their own work. And well, how do I evaluate this?
Now, Brewer says that could be a tough job for voters, but it's important to ask questions and not to take those ads at face value.
Well, Senator Susan Collins, who says she has repeatedly opposed broad tariffs on Canadian goods, issued a statement on Saturday in response to the latest U.S.-Canadian tariff negotiation breakdown. Senator Collins said in part, quote, Maine imports approximately $2 billion in non-petroleum products from Canada each year. Ever since the tariffs were first announced, I have heard from many businesses, farmers, and lobstermen concerned about the cost of navigating the tariffs, the lack of domestic supply chains, and the likely imposition of retaliatory tariffs by Canada, end quote. Her full statement can be found on our website at foxbangor.com.
As the use of artificial intelligence increases, the Ellsworth School Department is the latest to implement AI in the classroom. Ellsworth educators are involved in an initiative called STEM Workforce Ready, which is part of a research partnership with the Maine Math and Science Alliance. The goal of that program is to build capacity for students and teachers around computer science and in turn integrate AI into K-12 classrooms. Ellsworth School Department Technology Director Katie Hollenbach says teaching students to be more involved with AI will help them better understand what AI is and how it can benefit them moving forward.
AI is everywhere, so I think they need to know what students are going to be exposed to in the real world. In jobs, I think they need to prepare kids for careers and things that don't even exist yet.
Hollenbach hopes educators will reach out to assist in integrating that technology.
The time now is 8:18. After the break, from trade partners to trade war, 50% tariffs on Canadian goods went into effect over the weekend.
We'll have that story coming up. Plus, measles has been detected in wastewater samples right here in Bangor. We'll learn more about that as Good Morning Maine continues.
Troy was born to two teenage parents, and we struggled a lot. He didn't use that as an excuse. He used that as fuel to make things better for other people. Troy never talks about what he's done, but somebody will come up to me in the grocery store or someplace in town and they'll say, Troy helped me get a sewer, Troy helped me get my mother into a nursing home. If you need help, he's going to be there for you. That's who he is.
I'm Troy Jackson. This is my mom, and I approve this message.
Got old metal and junk cars? Turn that clutter into cash at Daddy and Daughters. We make recycling easy, fast, and fair. From Skowhegan to Dover-Foxcroft, from Troy to Lee, you can trust our certified scales and friendly service, offering top prices for junk vehicles in Maine. Whether you drop off or we pick up, Daddy and Daughters covers central and eastern Maine. Come see us at one of our 4 locations and watch your scrap pay off. Daddy and Daughters, turn scrap into cash.
Here are the facts about Susan Collins and Medicaid. Susan Collins was the deciding vote to advance Donald Trump's Medicaid cuts.
Susan Collins was the deciding vote to advance the bill.
Now, thousands more Mainers are expected to lose their Medicaid coverage. Hospitals and clinics are shutting down, all to give massive tax breaks for billionaires. Look up the facts yourself and tell Susan Collins to stop voting for Trump's health care cuts.
John Brown first opened his own appliance store in Ellsworth in 1976. With his gift of storytelling, a strong work ethic, and a philosophy of putting others first, John and his wife and children saw the business prosper and grow. Today's third and fourth generation of family and their entire team continue to follow the example set by their grandparents and parents. Brown Appliance and Mattress, High Street, Ellsworth, a family tradition of quality, value, and customer service that always puts you first.
Measles has been detected in wastewater samples from Bangor recently, and medical experts say it's an important heads up for the community, but not necessarily more than that. The wastewater testing by the CDC looked for the actual virus that causes measles. Follow-up tests did not find any elements of the virus itself. Dr. James Jarvis from Northern Light Health tells us that there have been no new cases of measles since that small cluster of cases in Bangor that was reported months ago. So experts say there isn't necessarily cause for immediate concern, but the wastewater testing results are a reason to be vigilant.
For anybody, but this is a great reminder that things like measles still circulate out there, and we have fantastic vaccines that help prevent these diseases, and particularly the mumps, measles, and rubella, or MMR vaccine, is very effective in protecting people against measles.
Dr. Jarvis encourages those with concerns about vaccines to speak with their physicians to get accurate information and data about the safety of vaccines here in the U.S. He also reminds folks to practice good hygiene, wash their hands, cough or sneeze into the crook of their elbow, and be aware about the common symptoms of measles.
All good tips there.
Yeah.
Well, now let's get a full look at our forecast with meteorologist Devin Biggs.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. We have some fog developing outside, especially along the coast, reducing visibility to about a mile or less, and especially further off towards the north, some reduced visibility as well, prompting advisories up, and that will last until about 9 a.m. for the county's highlighted in the gray areas, and even further off towards the north, some dense fog advisories have been indicated as well. So here's the wave heights right now. Let's check those out. We have no advisories for that. 2 to 3 foot wave heights are being indicated. Higher surf further out towards sea at around 4 to 5 feet at this moment in time. As we check out the radar and satellites, some rain away from us right now. We had a few areas that saw some rain showers overnight, and now we're just watching the area of low pressure, which is located right about in here, track off towards the north and east, and that will give us a few opportunities for a little bit more rain and thunderstorms before it does get out of here. So without further ado, let's get into this right here. We will have a chance for showers and storms to the north later on today, a slight chance for some of that to get in our backyard as we head towards the afternoon period before it backs off later on tonight, before we get some clouds and some more areas of dense fog late tonight into parts of Tuesday morning. That will get out of here, and then some more showers and storms by Tuesday afternoon, possibly into the early evening before it gets out of here. And then once we head towards your Wednesday, looking a lot better. We do need precipitation as the drought does continue for a little while longer, and in fact, we do need a lot of rainfall with moderate to severe drought in the area. So for today, here we go. Partly cloudy and isolated storm possible in our area. Better opportunities to the north with highs in the low 80s, south wind at about 25 miles per hour. By tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the upper 50s, areas of dense fog with the winds going calm. And then for tomorrow, we do have a partly cloudy sky, highs in the upper 70s, chance for showers and thunderstorms at a southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And your extended forecast, partly cloudy for your Wednesday with highs in the low 80s, mostly cloudy coming up for your Thursday with highs in the low 80s, and then for your Friday, showers and thunderstorms, highs in the upper 70s.
A few weeks ago, I went down to the basement to see what was happening with the boilers and opened the door, and there was about 12 to 14 inches of water in our basement. I knew who to call right away, and that was Bouchard. They were here within a half hour. They work well with our insurance company. They're very, very efficient, and all I have to do is call them any time of day. They're going to take care of me. Our business is our life, and that's why I don't hesitate to recommend them to other people.
Mainers work hard. Our leaders should too. Like Senator Susan Collins, who just cast her 10,000th vote.
The first senator in U.S. history to reach that mark without ever missing a vote.
Collins worked with Democrats to keep the Gulf of Maine open for our fishermen, kept our shipbuilders on the job with new funding, and Collins expanded health care for rural Mainers. No drama, just hard work and results. Call. Ask Senator Collins to keep working hard for Mainers.
Even if you have moderate to severe eczema, you can feel the rhythm, feel the flow, and Dupixent helps you feel the heal. It helps calm a key source of inflammation under the skin that can cause eczema. Some adults saw fast itch relief after the first dose, and long-lasting clear skin at 1 year. Many even saw 90% clear skin. Severe allergic reactions, including skin reactions, can occur. Get help right away for face, mouth, tongue, or throat swelling, wheezing, or trouble breathing. Tell your doctor right away of new or worsening eye problems like eye pain or vision changes, skin symptoms, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop other treatments without talking to your doctor. Stay ahead of eczema and help heal your skin from within. Dupixent, the #1 prescribed biologic by dermatologists and allergists. Ask your eczema specialist about Dupixent today.
President Trump put a 50% tariff on Canadian goods, which took effect over the weekend. Then Canada's Prime Minister is hitting back with matching tariffs on the U.S. ABC's Karen Waugh is in Washington with the details of how this will cost consumers.
This morning, from trade partners to trade war.
You're at war when you get attacked. We got attacked.
President Trump's 50% tariffs on Canadian goods went into effect over the weekend. Canada's Prime Minister Mark Carney promising to match them dollar for dollar starting September 8th. While the two countries have been working toward a new trade deal for more than a year, Canada did not accept the most recent offer from the U.S.
A mutually beneficial trade agreement is possible, one that lowers costs for families on both sides of the border. Canada has always worked towards these goals.
Trump's tariffs will impact just 5% of what Canada sends to the U.S., but they're expected to increase the cost of many products for Americans, from Canadian beer and whiskey to hockey sticks and building materials like cement.
I think you're going to see Mark Carney come to the table very, very quickly because it's going to be devastating for his country.
This trade war and potential for higher prices coming just 10 weeks before the midterm elections in November. Some Republicans support Trump's tariffs.
We're going to protect American jobs, and we're going to bring more jobs back to our country.
But Democrats like Pennsylvania Governor Josh Shapiro blasting the president, saying by doubling down on his reckless trade war with Canada, he's further harming our families, farmers, and small business owners. Energy is Canada's biggest export by far to the U.S., so some Canadian politicians are calling for Prime Minister Carney to go further by hitting the U.S. with tariffs on oil, gas, and other energy sources, which could send electricity bills soaring in some states. Karen Waugh, ABC News, Washington.
Southern regions of Thailand were hit by dozens of arson and incendiary attacks over the weekend as structures there went up in flames. According to Thailand's military, most of the incidents took place Saturday night, with at least 51 attacks across 3 provinces. The violence primarily involved small bombs, arson, and other forms of property damage. A 7-Eleven convenience store, also a high-profile target. Attackers did not engage with military or police forces, and at least 3 civilians are known to have been wounded. This as the attacks triggered military road checkpoints on Sunday. The 3 southernmost provinces in Thailand have Muslim majorities in the predominantly Buddhist country. Insurgent groups there have desired self-rule, as some Muslim residents have long complained about their treatment in Thailand. Separatist movements have been periodically active there for decades.
Well, now to that fast-moving wildfire that's already destroyed homes in Reno, Nevada. It has authorities urging some 90,000 people to evacuate. The so-called Hawk Fire ignited on Saturday morning and has exploded near the Nevada-California state line. Fire crews are facing multiple challenges as they try to beat back the flames, including unpredictable winds. Here's ABC's Sophie Flay.
This morning, a fast-moving wildfire near Reno, Nevada, forcing tens of thousands of people from their homes. Families filling up shelters.
They're concerned about when they can get back to their house, and they're coming here really with not much. They're feeling what any human would feel. And it's the anxiety, it's the worry, it's the fear, it's the stress, it's the unknown.
Strong shifting winds and dry conditions fueling the Hawk Fire, destroying homes and burning more than 15,000 acres.
To a lot of people around here, this is their entire livelihood. This is their entire life they built for years and years, and we've never seen a fire like this.
Nevada's governor declaring an emergency in Washoe County, deploying the National Guard. Firefighters battling nearly 90-degree heat as they try to get a handle on the flames. Still 0% contained overnight. The fire even jumping a major highway, making it hard for crews to reach some of the hot spots. At least 6 people have been injured, including 3 first responders. Officials say the fire was human-caused, but have not confirmed whether it was intentional or accidental. And now another challenge looming just days away. The annual Burning Man Festival is expected to bring some 80,000 people to the region. Many pass through Reno to stock up on supplies and stay in hotels. But with so many people displaced by the fire, locals are urging visitors to stay away, saying those resources are needed for evacuees.
About 10,000 power outages are blamed on the fire. Sophie Flay, ABC News, New York.
Well, coming up on the second half of the newscast, kids in Bangor got to spend their Saturday building rockets with the Challenger Learning Center.
We'll join them coming up on Good Morning Maine.
He put his life on the line for his country. Senator Susan Collins isn't forgetting him or any of our veterans. She's delivered millions in federal funding to improve housing for veterans across Maine and provide housing vouchers to make sure Maine veterans have a place to call home. She's also worked tirelessly to provide the quality mental health care our veterans deserve. Call and tell Senator Collins to keep fighting for our veterans.
A woodworker from Winterport has never been puzzled over what he was born to do.
Got hooked on it. I just love making them. It's all drawn by hand and cut by hand on my scroll saw.
We'll introduce you to Sonny Sawyer and his works of art tonight on Fox 22 News at 10.
This fall, everyone's favorite small-town doc is back.
The level of stupidity in this town can never be overestimated.
Best Medicine premieres September 22nd on Fox.
You're watching Fox 22 Bangor.
Welcome back, everyone. Today is Monday, August 24th, 2026, and this is also National Waffle Day.
Cornelius Swartwa of New York is credited with inventing the first patent waffle iron in 1869. It revolutionized waffle making by stopping it from stovetop griddles, then to a dedicated hinged appliance. The waffles we enjoy today are based on those made in Belgium and in France. The best way to celebrate this holiday is to start your day out with a fresh waffle with some of your favorite toppings.
It's kind of like a weekend breakfast thing for me.
Same.
Like when the kids were over, I used to make waffles all the time for
Waffles,
them.
pancakes,
Yeah.
all the good stuff.
Yum, yum, yum. Get some real maple syrup and put it on top. And
Yeah, this is a good holiday.
now you're talking. All right, time for some history. It was on this date back in 1814 during the War of 1812. British forces invaded Washington, D.C. and then set fire to buildings, including the Capitol building and the White House. It was in retaliation for the American attack on the city of York in Ontario, Canada. President James Madison had already fled the White House by the time British troops stormed the property. They reportedly, the British, they ate a meal from leftover food before setting the building ablaze. So they went to the White House, made themselves at home, and then
Clearly,
torched it.
Yeah, ate their meal.
Yeah, how about that? In 1932, on this date, Amelia Earhart set out on a 19-hour flight between Los Angeles and Newark, New Jersey, a flight that made her the first woman to fly solo nonstop from coast to coast. And in 1975, the band Queen went into the recording studio and began the sessions that produced the hit song Bohemian Rhapsody.
And now everyone knows
Everybody
it.
knows it, and if you've seen the movie too, you know that originally the record company wanted nothing to do with it. They thought it was too long, too weird, didn't get it. But they went ahead, and it turned out to be one of the biggest hits in rock history. Yeah,
absolutely. And in 1989, baseball great Pete Rose was banned from the game after he was caught betting on his own team, the Cincinnati Reds. In 1992, Hurricane Andrew slammed into Florida, leaving a trail of destruction. The storm resulted in 65 deaths and leveled entire neighborhoods. It ended up causing more than $26 billion in damage, making it one of the most costly storms in U.S. history. And lastly, in 2006, the International Astronomical Union declared that Pluto was no longer a full-fledged planet after it was then demoted to the status of a dwarf planet.
I'm still rooting for Pluto,
yeah,
too.
poor little Pluto.
Feel bad for it. Today's famous birthdays include comedian Dave Chappelle, who is 53, actor Rupert Grint, who played Ron Weasley in the Harry Potter movies. He is 38 years old, all grown up.
All grown up.
And baseball star Cal Ripken Jr. is 66 today. Happy birthday to you also, if your birthday is today.
We'll turn things right back over to meteorologist Evan Biggs.
And thank you very much, Craig and Janessa. Happy Monday. Your first weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. All right, here we go. This morning we have some fog developing. This is a dense fog advisory right here, and that will expire at around 9 a.m. this morning. We look further off towards the north. Also a dense fog advisory that will be expiring at around 9 a.m. We check out the current visibility. You can see where the levels of visibility are down, and we are seeing those across parts of the state. So as you do travel, definitely be careful out there. It will be hard to see for a little while. As we do push forward, we do have an area low pressure. We do have some clouds moving through. A little bit of rain recently too. That has since cleared out for now. We will have an isolated chance for a shower or storm across parts of the state today. Better opportunities further off towards the north. There's the center of low pressure right there that's tracking off towards the north and the east. And once we get this through, we'll catch a little bit of a break before another system moves in later on this week. All right, futurecast. We do have the clouds. The fog gets out of here. Thunderstorms to the north. A slight chance we could see a little bit of that to the south by us. Then later on tonight, some clouds and more fog on the way overnight. And that will continue as we head towards Tuesday morning. All right, hourly forecast pushing forward. We'll have the clouds, the fog gets out of here. A slight chance for a storm as we head towards the afternoon. Temperature is in the 80s. Your full 5-day forecast is coming up. Craig and Janessa.
Thank you, Devin. Well, UCLA researchers came up with a creative way to gain public interest around the decades-long studying surrounding marmots. The study, run by UCLA scientists at the Rocky Mountain Biological Laboratory, has been going on since 1962, making it one of the world's longest-running studies of individual mammals. The goal is to collect data on the animals before they head underground each winter to hibernate for more than a half a year. Now, researchers are sharing collected data and photos of the creatures in the new initiative called Fat Marmot Week, which kicks off today. This comes as scientists work to keep their research going amidst federal funding cuts.
Something that makes this data set so valuable is that we've been asking questions about the way marmots interact with their environment for such a long time.
The team needs 3 years of funding, over $200,000, to ensure that they can continue their research next summer. So far, they've raised about $100,000. Very cute.
All right. I think they're basically groundhogs, little ground
Pretty much.
squirrels or something like that.
Well, happy Fat Marmot Week, everyone.
All right, well, I'll be celebrating. Yeah.
Well, now for the latest on what's happening in Hollywood.
Here's ABC's Allison Cossack.
Hi, my name is Peter Parker. You don't remember me, but we used to know each other.
Spider-Man swung to the top of the box office for the 4th weekend in a row, collecting another $39 million in ticket sales this weekend. It's on track to surpass Avengers Endgame as the second highest grossing movie at the domestic box office. Marvel is owned by Disney, the parent company of ABC News. In second place, the 6th installment in the Insidious franchise called Out of the Further that made $25.3 million, below the opening for the previous Insidious movie called The Red Door.
Ithaca's king is coming back.
No, he's not.
And rounding out the top 3 was Christopher Nolan's The Odyssey, which added another $19.5 million 6 weeks after its debut. And happy birthday to Chad Michael Murray, known as a teen heartthrob on shows like Gilmore Girls and Dawson's Creek in the early 2000s. And that's what's happening in Hollywood. Allison Cossack, ABC News, New York.
I was not a teenage heartthrob.
No.
I know it's a big surprise to you.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, too bad,
Happy
Craig.
birthday to him, though.
Well, still to come here this morning, Max Stern with sports.
Don't go away.
First, it was Graham Plattner's problems with women.
And now, Troy Jackson.
According to a police report, Troy Jackson kicked down a door, punched a man in the face, and pushed his ex-girlfriend. As state Senate president, there are multiple reports of Jackson yelling and screaming at women. Jackson even threw a water bottle at one woman.
Make no mistake, this is an attempt to intimidate and control women.
Maine deserves better than Troy Jackson.
Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Make your outdoor living space dreams come true with a little help from Granville Stone and Hearth. Granville can help you go from this to this. Outdoor fireplaces, custom outdoor kitchens, gorgeous stone patios, and more. You bring the dreams, we'll supply the materials to make it all real. Create your stunning outdoor oasis with help from the experts at Granville Stone and Hearth, Main Road, Holden.
Troy Jackson likes to keep it in the family. When Jackson was Senate president, his son was one of the highest paid lobbyists in town. Special interests paid his son, and Jackson changed his positions. Just another dirty politician. SLF PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Some days start with busted belts and bruised knuckles. But out here, fixing things is just part of the ride. No matter what I'm doing, I have just the right tool close by. Then it's time to unwind and catch your breath, or maybe dinner. From fixing it right to living it fully, Coastal Auto Parts and Milwaukee Packout Systems help me get to the moments that matter most with the people that matter more.
When Blazing Trails located in Lincoln want to know the local forecast, they log on to foxbangor.com. Blazing Trails is Lincoln's #1 trusted dispensary, providing outstanding product and customer service to Eastern and Central Maine.
ABC 7 and Fox 22's Jack Webb named Maine's Sportscaster of the Year by the National Sports Media Association.
Welcome back in, folks. We'll start with the Husson women's soccer team, who is back in Bangor preparing for their regular season. The Eagles began practices this week, and the freshman class arrived at Husson for the first time just 4 days ago. But head coach Dennis Mullins put the team to work quickly, and on day one had them play out an inter-squad scrimmage, which he says lays out his expectations for the team early on.
That serves many purposes. It helps me lay eyes on our new players who I may or may not have got to see play in person, depending on where they're from. But it really shows them the level that we're expecting them to play at early and sets that bar.
Last season, the Eagles made it to the North Atlantic Conference semifinal game where they fell to Maine Maritime Academy. Now, that is a loss that still hurts for the returning players on this team, and senior Olivia Charles experienced that heartbreak and says it was instilled into the mind of the team on day one that they will not allow that hurt to haunt them again this year.
To fall short so earlier than we expected was really hurtful, and I think that the freshmen have also bought into that hunger, and I think that we're really focusing on that. I mean, day one we mentioned it. We said we're not feeling that again because we all remember that hurt, and we've been talking about it. So it's just time to, not let that happen again and learn from our mistakes and go forward.
All right, let's talk some Patriots now as they played their second preseason game versus the Eagles on Saturday night. Once again, no Drake May sighting on the field, so Tommy DeVito gets the start. And early on in the game, he's going to dump it off to Lan Larson on 2nd and 20, and he's going to pick it all up and more for the first down. What a play right there off the screen. Eventually, the Eagles would find the end zone for the game's first score, and it's Will Shipley cruising in for 6. But the Pats respond, and how about this play? It is an absolute dime from Tommy DeVito to Kyle Williams on the outside. He takes it all the way to the end zone for a 69-yard touchdown and the lead. With a minute to go in the 4th, down 4, Baron Morton fires down the right side, and it's caught by Nick DeGeneraro for the score. The Pats win 24-21. Mike Vrabel spoke about the ups and downs of the second-string team at halftime.
Well, I mean, the speed's real. I mean, it's evident. You know, there's a lot of things that Kyle's been working on that we need to continue to see, but, you know, certainly his ability to get on top and in the perimeter has been something that's been a really strength of his.
What do you want to see more out of your defense?
I mean, there's a lot of things. We need to be tougher at the line of scrimmage. We got to stop the run. You know, when they've thrown it, we've been okay. We've challenged and competed, but I just don't feel enough of us challenging and competing at the line of scrimmage.
Let's stick with the NFL, but make it a little bit more local, as former Maine Black Bears star quarterback Joe Fagnano saw some action in the Ravens preseason game versus the Minnesota Vikings. Fagnano played 4 years as the signal caller in Orono, and in that time he totaled 4,700 yards, 55 touchdowns, and nearly a 60% completion percentage. He then transferred to UConn for his final season, where he was also successful. He went undrafted in the 2026 NFL draft, but swiftly was picked up by the Baltimore Ravens and signed a 3-year contract. He saw some time in the Week 1 preseason game versus the Eagles, throwing for over 200 yards and a touchdown. And then on Saturday versus the Vikings, another impressive performance, 15 of 20 passing, 123 yards and a touchdown. Okay, let's close it out with the Red Sox, who took on the San Francisco Giants in Game 2 of their series on Saturday. A crazy one, but things don't start out well for the Sox, as Giants' Willie Adames smacks this ball, and it gets all the way over the wall. Solo home run. San Fran takes a 1-0 lead. It wouldn't be long before they added that lead, as Andrew Kinsner hits the Giants' second homer of the night in the 3rd inning, and it's 2-0 Giants. We're heading all the way to the 9th inning now. Sox down 2-0 and are on the brink of defeat. Eli White's hit sends a run home to bring it back within 1. And then with a man on third, Nick Sogard is going to rocket this ball into left field. That run comes home, and my goodness, folks, we are tied up in the 9th. And then it's Wilyer Abreu, 0 of 4 on the night, by the way, but none of that matters when you hit the walk-off run in the bottom of the 9th. His hit is out. Eli White beats the throw home, and the Sox win 3-2. That is all the time we have for sports. We'll be right back after the break.
Keep your boat safe, functional, and beautiful with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company. Your Hammond sales rep can help you choose the perfect lift for your boat. Shoremaster's exclusive Whisper winch offers the industry's smoothest and quietest operation. Add speed and convenience with a Shoremaster lift motor. And Shoremaster's modular infinity design makes it easy to upgrade with accessories when you're ready. Take your boating experience to the next level with a Shoremaster boat lift from Hammond Lumber Company.
I'm at Bob's with our 5-star rated modular Bob's sectional.
And I'm at the Jensen's, who bought this similar set from the competition. Both sectionals have buttery soft upholstery and come in multiple colors.
But only ours has Bob-O-Pedic memory foam, storage, wireless charging, all for hundreds less than the competition.
So dare to compare at Bob's and come celebrate our 35th with us this Labor Day weekend.
Hello, Bob here. The Jensens are coming. Act surprised.
Oh, my Bob!
Bob's Discount Furniture.
Augusta politician Troy Jackson. While his family cashed in, you paid the price. As state Senate president, he voted repeatedly for higher taxes. Troy Jackson voted to allow cities and towns to drastically raise your property taxes, hurting our seniors and working families the most. And Jackson supports raising taxes on your Social Security, making Mainers pay more while his family cashed in. We can't afford Troy Jackson in the Senate. Pine Tree Results PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
You know Matt pretty well. Did he give you any advice?
He said that I should use 26 words or more.
When every word counts.
Trash Panda.
Raccoon.
Yeah, hand me a trash panda. That was gangster.
It pays to choose wisely.
Wed, Thurs.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
You just won it.
25 words or less every weekday.
Weekdays at 9 on Fox 22.
Welcome back, everyone. With help from the Challenger Learning Center, the field outside of the Coal Land Transportation Museum in Bangor Saturday briefly became a launch pad for high-flying young Rocketeers and their families.
Callie Warren has more.
So we're hoping today is literally the spark to launch a rocket. It's the spark to say, I really liked this. What else can I do?
Kids in Bangor got the chance to not only spend their Saturday with some science, but to design, build, and blast their very own model rockets. It's part of a partnership between the Challenger Learning Center and the Coal Land Transportation Museum. Both parties say they hope to make the event a long-standing tradition.
They have a day where they can just come, be kids, build something on their own, and see it successfully launch into the air is really exciting.
For the astronauts of tomorrow, it's another step on their way to space exploration.
Yeah, because that's going to be my dream job.
Awesome! Is your dream job to be an astronaut?
Yeah. I want to go to space when I'm an astronaut.
In Bangor, Callie Warren, ABC 7 and Fox 22 News.
So fun.
Yeah, looks like a lot of fun.
Yeah, they'll remember that all their lives, too.
Absolutely.
Well, moving on now, swimming enthusiasts Saturday decided to kick off their weekend with a friendly open water competition on Branch Lake in Ellsworth. This unique event was the Bangor Region YMCA's second annual Breakaway Swim event. 71 swimmers ranging in age from 9 to 84 signed up to swim either the mile-long event or the 500-meter event at Camp Jordan. For many of those participants, it was their very first time competing in this challenge, so they brought lots of supporters and loved ones to cheer them on. The top fastest swimmer in each category earned a medal.
This is my first time doing the race, yes. In fact, any outside race.
Here, we did this last year, and we do a swim track, swimming in the ocean. And so we're training year-round and have been doing that for several years.
We go from, 8 years old to over 80 years old. It is incredible to watch. And the fact that they are all cheering each other on, it brings those multi-generations together, which is everything that the Y is about.
Organizers and volunteers say the turnout was fantastic, and they'd like to see the event be even bigger next year.
Congratulations to all the swimmers.
Yeah.
Well, now here's meteorologist Evan Biggs with our full weather forecast.
Alrighty, Craig and Janessa, thank you very much. Your full weather forecast brought to you by Old Town Redemption Center, now offering a 10% bonus on your returnables and a monthly $100 drawing. Alrighty, here we go. We have some fog developing outside, especially along the coast, reducing visibility to about a mile or less, and especially further off towards the north, some reduced visibility as well, prompting advisories up, and that will last until about 9 a.m. for the counties highlighted in the gray areas, and even further off towards the north, some dense fog advisories have been indicated as well. So here's the wave heights right now. Let's check those out. We have no advisories for that. 2 to 3 foot wave heights are being indicated. Higher surf further out towards sea at around 4 to 5 feet at this moment in time. As we check out the radar and satellites, some rain away from us right now. We had a few areas that saw some rain showers overnight, and now we're just watching the area of low pressure, which is located right about in here, track off towards the north and east, and that will give us a few opportunities for a little bit more rain and thunderstorms before it does get out of here. So without further ado, let's get into this right here. We will have a chance for showers and storms to the north later on today. A slight chance for some of that to get in our backyard as we head towards the afternoon period before it backs off later on tonight, before we get some clouds and some more areas of dense dense fog late tonight into parts of Tuesday morning. That will get out of here, and then some more showers and storms by Tuesday afternoon, possibly into the early evening before it gets out of here. And then once we head towards your Wednesday, looking a lot better. We do need precipitation as the drought does continue for a little while longer. And in fact, we do need a lot of rainfall with moderate to severe drought in the area. So for today, here we go. Partly cloudy and isolated storm possible in our area. Better opportunities to the north with highs in the low 80s. South wind at about 25 miles per hour. By tonight, partly cloudy, lows in the upper 50s. Areas of dense fog with the winds going calm. And then for tomorrow, we do have a partly cloudy sky, highs in the upper 70s. Chance for showers and thunderstorms at a southwest wind at about 5 to 10 miles per hour. And your extended forecast, partly cloudy for your Wednesday with highs in the low 80s. Mostly cloudy coming up for your Thursday with highs in the low 80s. And then for your Friday, showers and thunderstorms, highs in the upper 70s.
Steve McKay, the weather guy here. Finding the right home is just like a great round of golf. Location, precision, and knowing when to pull the trigger. This season, find your perfect fairway. Get looped, get sold with Next Home Experience.
Here at Twin City Tire and Service, you will be working with industry professionals. We have ASE certified master technicians and certified tire and lube technicians. If we need your vehicle for a duration of time, we offer a complimentary shuttle service and can even offer a loaner vehicle. Being a client at Twin City Tire and Service means that we will treat you right. This includes a 3-year, 36,000-mile warranty on mechanical repairs. We also provide you with 1 year of complimentary roadside assistance. Come see us today at Twin City Tire and Service in Brewer.
As Senate President, Troy Jackson counted votes, and his son counted cash. Jackson's lobbyist son raked in almost $200,000 from special interests, and Jackson flipped his positions. One polluter wanted to stop a bill cracking down on emissions, so they paid Jackson's son, and with Jackson in charge, the bill went up in smoke. Troy Jackson's family got paid. We got played. Coincidence or corruption? You decide. SLF PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising.
Way up north in Maine, down a road less traveled, lies Golden Road Crossing. We have everything you need to gear up for epic hikes, days spent fishing, and nights under the star-filled skies. Join us at Golden Road Yacht Club for cold drinks and Maine-grown comfort food. Gather round to make new friends, share stories, and create memories to last a lifetime. Come visit us at Golden Road Crossing, your hub on Maine's legendary Golden Road.
Hey, Steve McKay, the weather guy here. Sometimes the best thing you can do is roll the windows down, hit the open road, and let the scenery do the talking. But what if the drive didn't have to end? Find a home with a view worth driving to. Get looped, get sold with Next Home Experience.
A bear sighting ends with a big thump as more of the furry pals make their way across Colorado. 100 pounds of bear came crashing onto the ground Sunday in Denver. This after Colorado Parks and Wildlife crews responded to reports of the fuzzy fellow in a tree. CPW worked alongside Denver police to tranquilize the bear, which caused him to come tumbling to the ground. And while he did not stick the landing, no injuries were sustained during the fall. The agency has since released the bear back into the wild, and the incident comes more than a day after a bear attack was reported in a nearby county. CPW has reported a record number of bear sightings so far this year, and they say ongoing drought conditions are a potential reason the agency is urging people in the area, around that area, to clean up their food, take down their bird feeders, and lock up their trash until the morning of pickup to help prevent bear run-ins.
It looks like they kind of caught it with a tarp or something when it fell out of the tree.
Broke its fall at least a little bit?
Thankfully.
Yeah.
Well, meanwhile, it looked like an enormous shark, but it turns out one Massachusetts fishing boat captain was in for a huge surprise on the water. Longtime charter fishing boat captain Damon Sacco says that he's never seen anything like the fish he caught last Wednesday. In the deep waters about 100 miles off of Cape Cod, Sacco says he and a fellow fisherman wrestled for hours to catch a 1,260-pound blue marlin. So big he said it looked like a spaceship. The huge catch is believed to be the largest Atlantic blue marlin ever caught off the U.S. East Coast. According to marine science expert Walt Gollett, the highly migratory blue marlin is a seasonal visitor in that area, adding that catching such a large fish off the shores of New England is nothing short of a remarkable feat.
We leapt like 10 feet in the air, and this was like what I thought was a 900-pound fish. Ended up being 1,260 pounds, but all of that fish came blasting out of the ocean. And I remember like thinking to myself, like, good God, like this thing is like a monster.
The marlin was just 142 pounds shy of the world record blue marlin, which was caught off Brazil in 1992, according to the records kept by the International Game Fish Association.
How about that?
That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, came away with a great story to tell. What do you do with all that fish, though? That's the question.
I mean, share it, I guess, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Sell it to a fish
cool.
dealer.
Yeah. Well, that's all the time that we have left for this morning, but as always, we thank you for joining us.
Thanks for being there, folks. We hope you have a great day.
Today on 25 Words or Less, he's one of the producers of Who Do You Think You Are, which is also his response to most of these intros. It's Dan Bukatinsky. And joining Dan are church friends Chris and Jamie. She's still as relevant today as she was 20 years ago. Not at all.